Welcome to the Vault Excel. Thank you for joining me. Happy Sunday, everyone. This commentary is two stories out of Tennessee, two scenarios out of Tennessee. The first one I'm going to discuss is pertaining to Tennessee marriage. The governor has decided to pass a law stating that an officiator has the right to decline a marriage, performing a marriage. Yes, you heard it here live, everyone. Let me bring you that said information. Thank you for joining me. WBIR 10 News is the source.
Police signed a law that says a person is not required to solemnize a marriage. Now, this means people who officiate weddings can refuse to perform a marriage. Critics say this law could negatively impact same-sex couples as well as interracial and interfaith couples. A counselor says it's just another attack on the LGBTQ plus community.
And as more of these discriminatory laws get passed, more and more people are experiencing heightened anxiety and depression and isolation. And that's dangerous. That is harmful.
Coming up on 10 News at 6, hear from a law professor who says the text of the law does not appear to violate the Constitution.
Does not violate the Constitution. Well, interesting. Let's give you a little more information pertaining to this debacle. All right. 1 second, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Hello, everybody in the chat. Welcome, new viewers, new subs, old viewers. Welcome to the Vault Excel. Well, I thought I had an article somewhere. I guess I don't. Guess that was just a news clipping. Hold on 1 second. This is strange. Well, let me go into my search engine. I forgot that sometimes when I get those articles from the news break, they're just the audio of the said content, but not all of the information. 1 second. Hope you all are well. Hello, Shirley. Thank you all for joining me. It's almost afternoon here in the high 10. Okay, let's see. A new Tennessee law undercuts the Supreme Court's 2015 landmark closely divided decision legalizing same-sex marriage nationwide and marks a significant victory for a resurgent conservative movement to restrict LGBTQ rights. The law signed by Governor Bill Lee, he is also Republican, to little fanfare on Wednesday evening, allows state officials to decline to solemnize marriages. The new law effectively removes half of what is needed under state law to become legally married. In Tennessee, marriage occurs after two events: the issuance of a marriage license and the formal solemnization of a marriage, which can be carried out by a religious official, a state notary public, or a state official. By targeting solemnization and not marriage licenses, the law allows Tennessee to undermine the Supreme Court's ruling in Obergefell versus Hodges, while potentially avoiding a direct challenge to the precedent. Experts compared the new Tennessee law to the campaign waged against Roe versus Wade, in which many states passed increasingly aggressive abortion bans in the years leading up to the 2022 Dobbs decision, when a majority of justices were willing to revisit and scrap the Roe precedent entirely. Oh boy, this is winded. I think they're in the process of chipping away at marriage equality now to get to the same result, Chris Sanders, head of the Tennessee Equality Project, told TBN. Comparing it to the anti-abortion movement, he predicted the law would swiftly draw challenges. The new law is among the first in the country to allow state officials to decline to participate in same-sex marriages or other forms of marriage. It represents a rising aggressive tide in the conservative social movement, a recognition that after achieving a generational goal with the Dobbs decision and with the Supreme Court stacked 6-3 in favor of conservatives, they're in a position to lay siege to marriage equality and other personal freedoms. The shift in the way the Supreme Court is structured gives people a lot of leeway to do what they did with Roe, pass a law that's unconstitutional on its face and see what the new Supreme Court has to say. Tennessee Senate Minority Leader Ramesh Akbari, Democrat, an opponent of the law, told TPM. It's being set up intentionally that way, the same way the religious right set up challenges to Roe. Abby Rubenfield, an attorney who represented Tennessee in a case that was consolidated into the Obergefell decision, told TBM they want to overturn it. The law does not explicitly mention same-sex couples. Earlier drafts of the law contained a more explicit statement that officials could decline based on a person's conscience or religious beliefs, but even that fell short of stating any of the explicit concerns that someone may have with a marriage, be they of the same sex or different races or creeds. The fact that the law applies only to solemnization could mean that any challenge might avoid the central holding of Obergefell that states must license same-sex marriages and recognize same-sex marriage licenses issued by other states. Lord of mercy. Okay, I'm not going to read anymore because this is just way too long. You get the gist of it. So, Queen lives in the great state of Tennessee. I live in East Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee area. Amen. Go Rocky Top. Governor Bill Lee is our governor, Republican. Not that it matters, but just throwing it out there because somebody's going to say something anyway. Basically, he has passed laws saying to officiants who solemnize marriages, you have the right to decline. Now, as you heard in this article, it may be a punch to the gut for same-sex marriages, different creeds of marriages, interracial marriages, but you're entitled to your opinion. One could say it is a punch. You didn't put it in the statement, in the paperwork, but that's really why you brought it to the table. It's that you telling people, hey, don't marry these kind of people, whoever these kind of people are. But in the end, it's a person's choice if he or she wants to officiate a marriage. And in the end, that's what it's going to come down to anyway. You go to the pastor, whomever, and say, hey, I'm getting ready to marry Bob and you're a Bob. It's up to that person to say, I refuse, decline to marry you too. Now, legally, when you go over to like the government sides, such as going to the courthouse, a notary public, that's where it probably get a little dicey. Because if you're going into the courthouse, that's a government building, state building, which is a city building. So one would say you're not doing your job if you don't marry myself and this person, and we're the same sex, let's say. Or even, let's say, a different race. We go there too. You have to follow the law. So if the law says 2 men can marry, 2 women can marry, if you're in a government capacity, I think you have to follow the law. Now, we know in Tennessee, a woman declined to do that many years ago. Caucasian lady up Eastern Tennessee, a little ways up from the Queen. She did not follow protocol. Law was passed that same sex could get married. She declined to marry a couple. And that caused a big stir. Many of you who probably have heard of that story, that scenario that took place in East Tennessee many moons ago when all this jumped off with same-sex marriages, and it caused a big, big uproar. And she worked in the county office, but she declined. City office, whatever you call it. She declined. So is this a punch to the gut for mainly same sex? Because we know interracial people marry different races, been marrying races since the beginning of time, they haven't had a problem finding somebody to marry them. I do believe this is personal. I do believe this is a punch in the gut to same-sex marriages. And in the end, like I said, it's up to the person who's officiating if they decide they want to marry the person or not. In the end, that's going to be their decision. Now, something that came to mind while reading this story, I was thinking of a couple that wanted to buy a cake, if I'm not mistaken, okay? They wanted to purchase a cake. It's a same-sex couple, male versus male, and they went into a bakery. And this was a couple years ago. And the owner of the shop declined to bake the cake, okay? Now, one could say this is not proper etiquette to turn away a person because they want to buy a cake and have two men on top of the cake, okay? Other side of the coin would be, as you hear in this commentary about the solemnizing marriages, a white man goes in to say, I want to order a cake, or a black woman goes in and say, I'm going to order a cake, and she just so happens to tell the owner that her fiance is white, or Arab, or Asian, whichever. And then the owner decides to change his or her mind. Well, sorry, I don't make cakes for interracial couples. Would that be right? Of course it wouldn't be right. Of course it wouldn't be right. But the flip side of that is this. Why would you want to try to make somebody bake you a cake, let's say, whatever the business is, and they're telling you, well, I don't like, I don't care for same-sex marriages, or they're telling you I don't care for homosexuality, well, whichever. I don't have to go deep into that type of conversation, but we're just, talking out loud. Why would you want them to bake you a cake? Because in the end, you couldn't make them bake the cake anyway. You could stand there and argue, cry, stomp. But in the end, you can't make somebody service you. Is it right? Of course not. But people are entitled to their opinions. People are entitled to their religious beliefs. And that is a very interesting thing, because what you have to tell yourself about life in general, if you are a business owner, you work for the government, you are working with the public, okay? So, September, what are you crying about? What's the problem? I can't even get the content out. I can't even get my content out. Man, the things I choose to talk about on a Sunday. Anyway, when you're working with the public, common sense would tell anybody, whether it's a salon, nail business, Macy's, Burger King, there are going to be things you don't like about the world. But all in all, the things you don't like about people, personalities, creeds, sexual preferences, they're going to patronize the business, okay? So let's say you are the manager of Burger King and you don't care for gay people. Well, common sense will tell you a gay person is going to, one, dine in your establishment, order from your establishment, drive through the drive-through, even apply for a job. But by law, you cannot turn him or her down for services. Now, flip side, this scenario here, officiating weddings and or the other situation, turning down people because of religious, sexual preferences. It's dicey. It's dicey. But as I said, I don't want to patronize your business if you have a problem with me being African American, and if I knew that you didn't want a Jewish person in there or an Arab in there, whatsoever, I wouldn't give two hoots. Yeah, I'd probably say something about it like, damn, that's messed up. But why would I want to patronize your business? That's why I said all of this is dicey, because when you start delegating one situation, such as this situation here with the marriage situation, it starts to go into other things. That's why you hear the Roe versus Wade being mentioned inside of this article. That has been a law for years, and I'm still stunned that Roe versus Wade has been overturned, because although we know the fetus is considered alive once the sperm and the egg meet, May not be a full-term baby, may not, you're entitled to your interpretation. But the law said at one time a woman could have an abortion. Now that's been overturned. That's where I see all this going. Whether I agree to disagree with whatever, each day is one little thing after the other being turned over or switched over or switched back or took back. But like I said, when it comes to marrying someone, I can't make the pastor marry me. I don't care if I go to that church, I found this person online. If I call that man, that woman, and say, hey, I want to get married to Bob. Bob could be white, Bob could be Asian. If the person declines me, then they decline me. Then I go somewhere else. That's how I look at it. But where this is a problem, I guess, to some, is what's next. Because as the article states, Roe versus Wade has been overturned. We've had an issue with a woman not wanting to perform same-sex marriages in a government capacity. And so that's why I said this can become dicey, because different type of people can officiate a marriage, such as pastor, priest, rabbi. Then you have the government office, your local office, where you could just go get married at the court building. What if that person says, well, I don't want to do it. I don't believe in homosexuality. I ain't doing it. That's where this will be a problem. And the law here in Tennessee, passed by Mr. Lee, says they don't have to comply. Very interesting information. Oh, Lordy. Shirley. Now. That's my commentary pertaining to Tennessee law, new law passed. And it's also another law that they're working on pertaining to health care, the right to tell if your life feels threatened in a medical profession, such as mental health care and also just medical visits by patrons. And, oh, Lord, a whole nother crazy subject. I'm just throwing that in there because it was in my notes pertaining to Tennessee business. I don't know about Mr. Governor Lee. I think he's got some issues, because I'm sure somebody will be crying about something. It's always something, is it not? That's why I tell people, when they say you're free, you're not really free. Freedom is a myth. It appears that we're free, but due to certain laws that keep jumping up on the table to be passed and then passed, you start to wonder if you're actually free. Are we going back to times of slavery and segregation? Sometimes it feels like that with certain things. Oh, hold on a minute. Jumping the gun. All right, this is a new law. 9ABC is the source, Nashville, Tennessee. Just going to throw this in because I had it in my notes. Okay, a new law has been passed in Tennessee as well, called the Tennessee Duty to Warn Law. Mental health professionals are required to sound the alarm if they have a patient who is a threat, specifically if they have made threatening statements. This amendment expands to all healthcare professionals. The bill states, as introduced, expands the duty to warn of an actual threat of bodily harm to include all healthcare providers, not just mental health professionals and behavior analysts. It is hoped this measure will help prevent tragedies like the 3 children and 3 staff members killed by a gunman who had a history of mental illness at the Covenant School in Nashville last spring. In order to become law, this bill still has to pass the state Senate and be signed by the governor. Well, I'm sure he'll sign it. But the House leaders are optimistic. The House bill is below. News 9 ABC is the source if you want to read that. So here we go. You know, I've heard so many times detectives say in crimes of like stalking, persons being stalked by another human being, man stalking a woman, They usually things exacerbate once you say something. But it is a person's right. You're being stalked, you're being harassed by a man, woman, whatever. They're bothering you, they're coming by your house, peeping through windows, whatever. Soon as you draw up the paper, such as you try to go to the judge, make an attempt to get a restraining order, that is usually when things jump off. Now they feel the need to go past the law and break the law. You see it all the time. That's kind of like what this is. Patient comes in, whether they're schizophrenic, not well, mad at the world, aggressive. You're trying to calm the person down. Please be quiet. Please sit down. We'll be with you shortly. What's the problem? Whatever the situation is. Now imagine you tell that person, now, sir, we've had issues out of you. We prefer you don't come back into the doctor's office. Well, you should know he or she, God forbid, they are actually violent, they have violent tendencies. Maybe you don't know about it. They go off the deep end. Thank you, Green Eye. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody in the chat. So you don't know what's going to set a person off. And my thing is this. Even if you don't say anything to the person, you don't address the threats, the nasty comments, whatever they said, there's still a propensity for violence in that person's mindset. And that's the thing. You don't know people. You don't know what will set them off. So whether you say something, don't say something. If the person wants to exact harm, such as these mass shooters, they're already at that point of doom, if you get my drift. Maybe somebody tried to reach out to him or her and say, hey, I'm noticing you're having some issues. You're not talking well. You don't sound well. You don't look well. But in the end, even if there are concerned people trying to talk to the person, it is still the person's right not to go get mental help, not to see a counselor, a therapist. That's the gist of the story. Once a person has reached that point of no return, there is nothing you can say or do to help the person. They want to go out here and, detonate a bomb or pull out an AR-15 and do something, let go in an open room form. They're going to do it. And you can best believe if you were to say something to a person right now at the doctor's office, the dentist's office, whichever, it's going to be a problem. I won't doubt this law came about, or they're trying to get this law passed, because of that incident down in Memphis where a black lady was talking crazy to the dentist's office. She's in the dentist's office raising hell. And she made a comment about what somebody had done in a dental office. She said, I can see why that guy shot those people in that office. So next thing you know, they called the police, she's arrested. But someone was gunned down in a dental facility. So she was feeding off of that for whatever was going on in the dental office where she was. I don't know exactly what was said. It's been a while ago when I, saw that content. But, oh, Lord. You don't know people. That's my point. You don't know what you're going to do or say that's going to trigger a person. And like I said, if they're at the point of no return, they're going to do what they want anyway. I'm not saying you don't have the right to say something to them because you're worried about them coming back, blowing up the facility. But what I'm saying is you also have to use common sense that if I say something, as polite as I could try to say it, sir, we don't want you back in the office. Please remove yourself. We'll call the law if you don't remove yourself. It's probably not going to turn out well because we're in a time where people are not dealing with their emotions well. People don't have impulse control. I have to watch my own self because I get irritated very easily, as most of you know. It doesn't take very much. And I think it comes from when you're dealing with a lot all the time, it just becomes redundant. And see, that's the thing people don't understand. A lot of people are dealing with a lot of stress that's unnecessary, unwarranted. And you just get to the point where you're just like, you're tired. And I don't think people really understand that. You could be as nice as you want, giving as you want, but some days you come into the world and it's just like, here comes the same old BS. And you're like, I just left that yesterday. I was just talking about this yesterday. Why am I in this situation today? I think a lot of things are based on impulse control, how people are treated, not being able to, process situations well, pop off. And naturally, you cannot pop off on every situation, especially in public. I don't recommend it. So, oh Lord. Best you remove yourself. Like I said, every situation is different. Sometimes, like I said, everybody's different. Some people are easily provoked into anger. Some people pop off after dealing with a whole lot of stress situations. That's why I said everybody's different. And people can be provoked. And we know that you're not supposed to exact, harsh words or violence. But like I said, some people just get fed up and they just pop off. So what I'm saying is, I understand this law they're trying to pass. Heed the warning. You hear something, you see something medically, sound the alarm. Because sometimes people give people passes, they won't say anything, but we know common sense in a public place, at least in a public place. You hear some foul talk, derogatory, violent talk, you need not let that pass. So if a person is in a public place, mental facility, doctor's office, clinic, whichever, the person is becoming irate, upset, they're starting to threaten people in the office, the room itself, it's best, to call 911 and say, we have a patient here who is not feeling well, and then you let the law handle it. I wouldn't keep engaging. And that's where people make their mistake, is engaging. That's how most people get wrapped up in drama or fatality, is by engaging. Public place, I don't recommend it. You can't even do it at your own house. God forbid you having a disagreement with a neighbor or something. Anything could pop off, jump off, because you don't know people. And you may honestly have a legit complaint. Hey, your car's parked on my lawn. Could you please move your car? Then they want to get mad. Well, what's wrong? Why can't I park here? Blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, somebody pulls a weapon out. See, people are unpredictable. That's the point. People are unpredictable. That's my commentary. Just throwing that out because that was in my notes. And that's also a law on the table. We'll see if it gets passed about this duty to warn. The first commentary is pertaining to solemnizing marriages. Governor Lee of Tennessee has passed a law saying you do not have to officiate a marriage if you do not want to. Okay. Next story is, oh Lord, what a doozy. When I first saw this story last week, it sounded strange to me, only because I was looking at the photograph of the squad car coming out of the water. Now, the pictures that you will see in news outlets, the car is being pulled out of the river and it's nose in, and the tow truck is pulling it up the little ramp from the butt of the squad car. So I just assumed the car went in naturally, nose in. But I learned that allegedly it was upside down, which was strange, and looking at the photograph of it being pulled out of the water from the butt of the car. Hope you're following me. So I was trying to understand, how did the car turn upside down if he drove straight into the river? It's very weird information. Shirley, what you got going on down there? Oh my goodness. All right, everybody. This is subject number 2. abcnews.go.com is the source. The body of a Tennessee deputy who disappeared after making an arrest has been recovered hours after his patrol vehicle was pulled from a river, officials said Thursday night. The body of a woman handcuffed in the back seat was also recovered in the vehicle, which was found submerged in the Tennessee River, officials said. Authorities have been searching for the deputy, Robert R.J. Leonard, after he failed to respond to a status check after taking a woman into custody around 10 p.m. local time on Wednesday, officials previously said. Leonard's patrol vehicle was found and pulled from the Tennessee River in an area on the border of Meigs and Hamilton counties earlier Thursday. And for those of you who are not familiar with this area, Hamilton County is Chattanooga. So that's about an hour and 30 minutes from where the Queen lives. So this is between there, outside of Knoxville, going into, Meigs County and Hamilton. So going towards Chattanooga, let's say that. Going south. His remains are currently being escorted to the Knoxville Regional Medical Examiner's Office by motor units with the HCSO Tennessee Highway Patrol and the Chattanooga Police Department, the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office said in a Facebook post late Thursday. Authorities are working to officially identify the woman recovered from the back seat, though they believe it to be the arrestee, according to Meigs County District Attorney Russell Johnson. The Meigs County Sheriff's Department is in contact with the suspected deceased individual's family. Johnson said in a statement on Friday, "We will release her identity after the Forensic Center has made an identification and the family has been notified." On Wednesday night, shortly before 10 p.m. local time, Leonard had responded to a report of a man and woman fighting on a bridge and had taken the woman into custody, according to Johnson. Now, that's interesting. They took the woman in. Why didn't they take the guy in? I'm curious. Did she pull out a weapon? Did she have a weapon? I'm not getting all of that. He was driving to the county jail when the sheriff's office lost communication with him and he failed to respond to a status check, Johnson said. One of the deputy's last communications was a text to his wife that said, "Arrest," Johnson said. His wife texted back and said, "That's good," or "That's great." He said at a press briefing earlier Thursday. We know that his phone did not evidently receive that text. At nearly the same time, Leonard made a radio communication to dispatch, Johnson said. Dispatch couldn't tell what he was saying, he said. "We think he was saying water." The search led authorities to a landing near the bridge at the Tennessee River, Johnson said. Leonard's vehicle was found upside down with the wheels up, filled with mud, and with the driver's side window down, Johnson said. The license plate confirmed it was Leonard's patrol car, according to Johnson. Officials said the landing can be treacherous, especially for those not from the rural area. A woman went into the water at the same location several weeks ago and was rescued and survived, Johnson said. Multiple agencies will investigate how the vehicle ended up in the water. However, Johnson noted that the deputy, a native of New York, appeared to be texting and radioing while driving in a poorly lit area he was unfamiliar with. We're operating under the theory that it was an accident. He missed his turn. He wasn't familiar, and he was doing other things that may have caused him to go into the water, Johnson said at the Thursday afternoon press briefing. Leonard joined the force after graduating from the training academy in December, according to Meigs County Sheriff Jackie Melton. He was on the night shift and was doing a real good job, Melton said. Leonard lived in nearby Roane County with his wife and 3 children, officials said. It's a hard time for us, Meigs County Chief Deputy Brian Malone said at the press briefing earlier, choking up. It's something that we don't ever deal with here in Meigs County. Deputy Leonard had only been here for a couple of months, but he'd become a part of our family, he said. ABC News is the source, everybody. Woo! Where do I start? First of all, I'm going to ask every pertinent question because it is a breaking news story. Why did he move to Tennessee from New York? Number one. Why did he want to become an officer in Tennessee? Why is he here? I'm going to question that. How many years did he work on the force in New York? What brought him here? He's a father of 5 children, had 3 with the current wife, where he was residing in Roane County. The wife is devastated naturally. Says she's been crying is all she can do. That's from an earlier article I read. Did they give him a tour of the area where he was working? Officers. Sergeant. Because I'd have to ask myself, how in the world did he get down that ramp? Because when you look at the photographs, the still photos, videos, there are yellow lines in the road, which would lead someone to believe this was once a road. So you're asking yourself, well, if it's a ramp, why would it have yellow lines? It looks like asphalt has been poured on top of the yellow lines, which is also strange. So how did he get turned around? Well, one could say, well, it was dark. 2, he wasn't paying attention. He was texting his wife about arresting this woman. And that's something he should not have been doing. You should not be one texting and driving no matter who you are, officer or civilian. Everyone knows it is dangerous to text while driving. Even talking on the phone, people still become distracted. That's why it's best to have a Bluetooth or your phone on some type of stand in the automobile, the dash. But in the end, even when the phone is mounted on the visor, this and that, the mirror, you still got to disconnect the phone unless the person hangs up first. So that means you're still not paying attention. And that's where he messed up. Because he possibly was not familiar with that area. And as you hear, somebody already went into the water, but she was rescued, a female, a month or so ago. Then we have to ask that question. What the hell was she doing to get into the water? This is where GPS is relevant. Always pay attention to where you're going. Do not drive fast in areas you are not familiar with. Because like I said, when you look at the road, it has yellow lines down it where it looks like it's a street, but there's some asphalt thrown on top, I guess to deter the yellow lines. I don't really understand. This is the country, so nothing surprises me. Nothing surprises me. What I'd like to know, is there a sign a little ways up from that road stating that this is a dock ramp so you could take your boats down into the water? Because there's no need for a car to go down there. The only thing that should be going down that ramp, I would assume, would be a boat. So I'm confused. I can only go by the photo stills because I'm not familiar with the area and I don't really know what the hell is going on. But he shouldn't have been texting. Now imagine you're texting your wife. Naturally, he's texting because he doesn't want the girl in the back to hear what he's talking about, which is her. She's handcuffed. Little does she know the officer is not familiar with where he is going, and he's also doing something he has no business, which is talking on the damn phone. And even if he was talking on the phone and not texting, still wrong, wrong, and wrong. You know better. So now you have unalived a human being plus yourself because you want to text your wife that you have done your first arrest since being a deputy. And now you have lost your life and unalived this woman. And imagine what he was going through and she was going through because he was found outside of the car hours later. I will also read you that article pertaining to him being out of the water. She's still in the squad car. It's not good. They will probably sue the family. Why not? Everybody sues. You know, it's American. It's the American way. They'll probably sue. Why would they not sue? Because this is strange to me. It's not strange. It's typical, really. People do things they know they don't have no business doing while on the clock. He had no business talking. Well, Shirley, we know it can send you down the wrong place. This is why I said you have to drive carefully at night. You don't go 40, 50 miles an hour in places you're not familiar. Because like I said, the road looks like a regular street, but there's asphalt thrown on top. But if you are not familiar with that area, you could just be riding along thinking you're going somewhere, but you're getting ready to go into water, which is strange to me because like I said, are there signs or a sign that says, hey, boat dock right here, you know, a little green sign and it has an arrow. And if he's texting, not paying attention, he may not even see the damn sign to even say there's a boat dock. I don't know. Because like I said, I'm not familiar with the area. So I can't say what's there and what's not there. The point is he was texting, so it doesn't matter. He didn't have no business texting. That's just common sense. You're driving a patrol car. You're supposed to be taking her to the jail. You have no business texting and talking to anybody else. And then possibly, like they said, working the radio too. He had too much going on. And it's dark, 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 dark. It's dark outside. So anybody knows this is not the time to be talking to people, radioing people in the dark. And you don't know where you are. The Tennessee deputy and father of 5, who was found dead in a submerged car alongside a suspect, had just celebrated making his first arrest before the fatal crash. Robert John R.J. Leonard, 35, a rookie with Meigs County Sheriff's Office, sent his wife a text that said arrest Wednesday after nabbing his first suspect since joining the force in December, District Attorney Russell Johnson said. Leonard's wife sent the response, but the deputy's phone did not appear to receive the message, Johnson explained. A search was launched that night. After further attempts to contact Leonard also failed and crews found the deputy's car upside down in the Tennessee River on Thursday, authorities found Leonard's remains as well as those of Tabitha Smith, whom he had said to have arrested before the car plunged into the river. Smith, whose body was found in the backseat of the vehicle, was taken into custody after Leonard responded to a disturbance call, WVLT-TV reported. It's a hard time here for us today, said Meigs County Sheriff's Office Chief Brian Malone the day the bodies were recovered. Something we don't ever deal with here in Meigs County. We're a small rural county. We're not used to it, he lamented. Leonard allegedly said he was taking a woman to the Meigs County jail before an incomplete transmission came in from his radio, the Tennessee Police Benevolent Association said. He may have said water during the last contact, TPBA explained. Leonard did construction for most of his life before recently moving to Tennessee to pursue his dream of becoming a police officer, his obituary stated. In addition to his wife, Krista, Leonard is survived by his 5 children. On Valentine's Day, the day of the accident, Leonard's wife paid tribute to her husband, whom she called the bomb to my dignity. Okay. Thank you for always being my co-pilot in my crazy, unplanned adventures in life, she wrote in the emotional post, which featured a photo of the couple showing off coordinating tattoos. Just one day later on Thursday, the grieving wife was forced to update her profile as a widow. My heart is breaking for my kids, and I am just an absolute wreck, she wrote. I will start reaching out when I can pull it together. For now, all I can do is cry. New York Post is the source. Tabitha Smith is the woman that was in the back seat of the car. Let's see what we can find on Tabitha Smith. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $ Big Angie, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are welcome during the live stream. This is a hot butter mess. Hot, hot, hot butter mess. Let's see what pulls up in the search engine. Well, we do have something. Oh, WVLT is the source. Tragic way to die. Arguing with your boyfriend to later die in the back of a car handcuffed. So was she handcuffed from the back or the front? Also, his window was down. Was he got out some type of way? Was he trying to save her or save himself? We'll never know. Because he was found separated from the car.
Earlier today, the Knox County Medical Examiner identified the woman in the car as Tabitha Smith. Crews found Deputy Robert R.J. Leonard's body also in the water, not far from the car. District Attorney General Russell Johnson says Leonard arrested Smith after a disturbance call and was taking her to the jail when he took a wrong turn, left the road, and went into the river Wednesday night. There are still a lot of questions that need answers as this investigation continues. But tonight, people who knew Smith are mourning the loss of their friend. Our Sam Luther joins us. Sam, a tragic story that really came as a shock to those closest to her.
Yeah, Casey, last night, Chief Deputy Brian Malone told me that they believe that Deputy Leonard simply got turned around, drove down that dead-end road that led into the Hiawassee River. Tonight, the friends of Tabitha Smith want to make sure her story isn't forgotten about.
She was a mother, a daughter, a friend, sister.
To her friends, Tabitha Smith was Tabby, a woman who just had her 35th birthday only a few weeks ago.
She was a happy person. She was outgoing. She loved life.
The Meigs County Sheriff's Office says Deputy R.J. Leonard got turned around and accidentally drove into the Hiawassee River. In the back seat was Smith, who had just been detained after a disturbance call as the cruiser hit the water, trapped, handcuffed, with no way to get out.
I could not imagine being trapped and knowing that my life was going to end.
Exactly.
Friends heartbroken to learn about what happened as they reflect on the impact Smith had on them.
She had a heart of gold. And despite any struggles and troubles that she had, she was a great person.
Leaving behind a husband and an 8-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter, those closest to her hope she's known for more than just a tragedy.
I hope they remember her by her name, Tabby Smith, and I hope she's remembered as more than the girl in the backseat.
In the backseat of that car is where investigators found Smith. The friends who heard from right there tell me they hope and truly believe that Deputy Leonard tried to save her in those chaotic moments. But Casey, understandably, the uncertainty of what those final moments looked like really weighing on them tonight. No funeral arrangements for Smith or the deputy we mentioned before have been announced yet.
It's just a tragic, tragic story out of Meigs County. Sam, thank you.
All right, that was uploaded February 23rd. Today's the 25th. Services have been announced for 35-year-old Tabitha Smith, who died after a Meigs County deputy drove into the Hiawassee River. Tabitha Smith's family will receive friends on Saturday, which was yesterday, September. February 24th at Burdett Baptist Church, 1 to 3, followed by Celebration of Life. Once again, her services were yesterday from 1 to 3 p.m. Deputy Robert R.J. Leonard went missing after arresting a woman, just a recap, identified by the Knoxville Medical Examiner's Office as Tabitha Smith on the evening of February 14th, Valentine's Day. Officials with the Sheriff's Office and District Attorney Russell Johnson said, based on an early investigation, it is believed that Leonard took Smith into custody after 9 p.m. on Highway 60, and then crashed his patrol car near the Blythe Ferry boat ramp. Okay, so now it has a name, a boat ramp, Blythe Ferry. So was there a sign on this road? Because the area view from this article, if you need verification, WVLT News, Channel 8, it's wooded. It looks like a street, just a regular street. But that's why I said, is there a street sign that says Blythe Ferry ramp or boat ramp? Most of our signs are in green. Here in Tennessee, any type of street sign is usually green. Okay? So was there a green sign somewhere on this road to alert you that the boat dock exists? Number one. So once again, officials say he arrested the woman, texted his wife about the arrest, and radioed to say he had a detainee he was bringing back. 12 minutes later, officials said Leonard radioed again in distress and said something about water. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation leads the investigation, but several other agencies, including the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency and Tennessee Highway Patrol, helped in the search. Leonard's car was found in the water near the ramp on February 15th. Leonard's body was not inside the car, but Smith's body was in the back seat, officials said. Once again, Channel 8 News is the source. You hear her friend speaking to the news about the type of person she was. We want her to be more than just the girl who died in the backseat of a patrol car, a man, married woman, children. The person she was arguing with, was that the husband on the highway? Were they in a car, out the car? What happened? Earlier article I read said they were on a bridge arguing. Why was she arrested? Was she belligerent, under the influence of something, had a weapon, made threats, unruly, became volatile? Why was she arrested? Why was the man not arrested? Was he arrested? Because I didn't hear it in the article I read before. This is a tragedy in itself, because it's one thing to be getting arrested for whatever reason she was taken into custody. Don't know. Maybe she had an old warrant. I don't know. But this is what is so tragic about being arrested. It's bad to be arrested, whether you did something wrong or not, because you're innocent until proven guilty. To die in the back of a squad car. We already had one case here in East Tennessee of an elderly lady from Washington State who died in the back of a paddy wagon. They have it on video of her arguing with the police at Fort Sanders Regional Medical Center near University of Tennessee. She would not leave the property. Police come up. They're going back and forth with her. Ugly words are exchanged, trying to get her off the property and then into the paddy wagon. Sadly, she kept telling the people inside, the officer, she couldn't breathe. She couldn't breathe. She was later found dead in the back of the paddy wagon. The sick part of that story is, 1, nobody believed her. 2, she appeared to be homeless. 3, the officer made another patrol stop while she was back there either dying and or deceased. Families, I do believe, now are suing the city of Knoxville, Tennessee. Wrongful death. Now, for Tabitha, as I said, don't know what was going on that bridge for her to get arrested, but nonetheless, she should be alive today. Probably would have bonded out on something petty. And how tragic is that? More than likely, it was a petty arrest. Nothing just major. But to then later die 12 minutes or so later, 15 minutes later, under muddy water. Imagine that. No way did she think, probably I'm going to jail tonight or die tonight. That's what's so interesting about life when you hear these type of stories. Somebody was unalived, hurt, killed themselves, however the events unfolded. You always ask yourself, or I do sometimes, what happened that day? What were they doing that day? What was on their mind that day? Did they get an inkling something bad was going to happen? Sometimes you get a premonition that something's not right. Kind of like yesterday for the Queen, not to compare it to this, of course, but just saying I was off kilt yesterday. I wasn't feeling the best. I went live anyway. And lo and behold, more drama ensued while I was on the live stream. Not going to go into details of what happened during the live stream, but I had to step away from the computer for nonsense. It's always something, but I should have known. Something would jump off just because I wasn't feeling well. I couldn't gather my thoughts properly while doing the damn live. And then I'm interrupted with some damn drama. It's the devil. This is what the devil does. He's always infiltrating. He doesn't take a damn day off. You can wake up in the best of a mood. You can actually be happy that day. But the devil says, oh, no. I don't care that you're happy today. I don't care that you're in a good mood today. Oh, I don't care that you're not feeling good today. He will find a way to infiltrate. That's his job. So whatever happened with this lady, her and this person she's arguing with, who knew it was going to lead to her death? Now, it was one thing if she was arguing with the man on the bridge and he pulled out a weapon or started beating her up. and she died right there, that would be different. But she gets arrested, going to the jail. The deputy should be paying attention to his surroundings. He's new to the area, new to the job. He goes down a damn road that goes straight into the damn river. Can't get any worse than that. You have to be about your business. And now he's not even alive to stand account for killing this lady, because in the end, that's what he did. And they'll just write it off as, well, okay, he wasn't paying attention. But it's a big deal. Because you didn't have any business being on the phone. He had no business being on the phone. Because even if it didn't go into water, he could have ran into a tree or ran off the road, ran into another car. Still be the same. The only thing is this lady's not alive. She might survive a car crash. Maybe. But it's neither here nor there now. She's gone. And she also was a mother. He was a father. So now children are without two parents. The deputy has left behind children and a wife, and the decedent has left behind a husband and a child, if I'm not mistaken. So both were married and both had kids. How jacked up is that? This is jacked up. And what I found interesting is that officials came out and told the alleged truth that he was texting. Because I would find that, things do get covered up. What if we had never heard he was texting? Just that, he made a wrong turn. But they probably felt like somehow it would get out. Don't cover it up. Because the government jumped in to investigate, and they would have been searching that box he used to talk to the officials, radio, dispatch, whatever. They would have searched possibly his phone records to see who he had been talking to, because naturally you wouldn't even think to be searching a deputy's phone. Why would I be searching his phone if he's supposed to be driving somebody to the jail? Well, they did the right thing. They did search his phone. And then the wife probably told it. She probably told it without even thinking. Well, we were on the phone texting. He was telling me he just arrested somebody. She would have told it without even thinking. Oh, yeah, it's Valentine's Day, and he's working, and he missed me. I miss him, and he was so happy to get his first arrest of the night, first arrest of his new job. And imagine that. You're bragging about arresting somebody, happy to be getting your first arrest. I guess that's great news for a new deputy. But look how it ended. You died in the backseat of that car with the same person you're bragging about. Think about that. Now, that's a very wicked irony. Imagine that. New to the area, new to a job, first arrest under your belt in a new jurisdiction, and you die in the back seat. You die in the water with that same detainee. She's handcuffed, drowning, sucking down mud and water upside down. That had to be a very terrible death. Going into the water, the murk, in the darkness, can't get out, can't do nothing, kick, scream, holler to God, Allah, and then go upside down, drowning. He's out of the car. Don't know if he tried to save himself, get to her, but they say he was close by the vehicle. Make it make sense. His window was down. So did he drive into the water with the window down? Or he was able to roll it down while submerging in the water? Yeah, my mind's blown too, baby. Because once I heard he was texting, I was like, when I saw the article pop up in my news break, I said, oh, Sookie, here we go. But see, Queen has always had intuition. My instincts are rarely wrong. Rarely. Can be impulsive at times, thinking things, overthinking things. But when I first saw the article before I got any of this information, because I just got this information yesterday. My spirit told me when I first read the headline, I said, wait a minute. How did he drown in the water? That's the first thing I said. Then I learned he was new to the area, new as a deputy, had no idea of any phone transactions with this person or that person. And the first thing I said was, well, damn, he must have been speeding maybe, riding and talking, listening to music, what? Talking to the detainee, what? Oh, no. 1 week later, talking on the phone to his wife, bragging about this woman in the back who he later is going to die with in the water. Checkmate. It's a horrific story because drowning is horrific. And I have done research, which in the end, it doesn't really matter. But when I was talking about the Camille McKinney case many moons ago, I would Google drowning, suffocation. Suffocation is what I would Google because the child was suffocated allegedly in the charging document against the two suspects. So with suffocation would come up, drowning, so on and so forth. So while I was doing my research on suffocation, drowning comes up, and it was stated by a doctor, forensic person, that drowning is the most horrific way to go. It is more painful than being suffocated. To be suffocated, it will take about 3 to 4 minutes before you reach death, allegedly. As we know in the George Floyd case, it went on almost, 8 minutes or so? So imagine lying on the ground, bag over your face, somebody's arm, hands around your throat, and you're being choked and or suffocated, okay? What seems short is 3 to 4 minutes, but that's not short to the person who's on the other end of the suffocation or the drowning. The doctor says drowning is more painful. I wasn't even trying to even understand what he meant. Because the first thing I said to myself was, well, how do you know if you've never drowned? A dead man can't speak to tell me that it was painful. So how would you know it's painful? I'm assuming he's talking about what they find, in the lungs, such as water, and what that would do to you while trying to sustain life. That's the only way I could dissect that comment. In the end, suffocation, drowning, asphyxiation, however you want to word it, is painful in itself naturally, because we have all choked on food, drank something and went down the wrong pipe, and you know that feeling you get when your airway has been cut off. Water in your eyes, taking a shower, suds, water going down your nose by mistake, taking a shower, or if you're in the water, swimming, having a good time, whatever, the first feeling of the water going down your nose. So think about that when you think about people drowning. That feeling when water goes in your nose is a very uncomfortable feeling because water is not supposed to be in there. So you're sucking that down naturally through the nose. And then you start gagging. Okay, now imagine in a body of water. There's no way to cough back up the water because you are submerged in water. Just like sitting in a chair, standing up, and you choke on a Coke, a water bottle, whatever, you were able to try to gag that water soda pop back up because you're in freestanding earth. It's not the same. You can't cough water back up in water. So I can see maybe that's what that person meant, why drowning would be a painful death. And then 2, you're panicking. And they say that's why most people drown. Because once they hit the water, they panic. But that is a natural reaction, especially if you didn't intend to fall in the water. 2, you cannot swim. I can't imagine. Most of these stories I bring to this platform, they're all horrific. Either intentional, unintentional, accidental. They're all horrific. And this one is more horrific because she couldn't even get out to save herself. And it's no telling what she was saying to him once the car hit the water. She probably was looking out herself, like, it's getting awfully dark. I don't see any street lights, any signs of nothing. Hey, wait a minute. Hey, you need to stop. Too late. Already in the water. Lord have mercy. What were her last words, Miss Smith? Was she cussing, fussing, trying to kick the door open, trying to push her shoulders against the door to get out? Did she have time to react? What was he saying, the deputy? Trying to radio in, but realized I better get out this seatbelt? Because he was found out of the vehicle. So I would assume he was able to open his door and get out of the vehicle. Or he floated out the window. I don't know. Can't say. It's interesting, though. His window was down, and he was found not too far away from the patrol car in the water. And she was still strapped in the back seat of the patrol car, Miss Tabitha Smith. A gate. You don't have gates on boat ramps, Shirley. It's a boat ramp. How are you going to get the boat in the water if there's a gate? I've never seen a gate on a boat ramp. I'm wondering if this police department gave him a tour of the general area that he would be working. Because naturally, you're not going to know every street, even though this is small town America. You're not going to know every street, every side road, because that's all you have back here in these parts of Tennessee, back roads. These back roads can take you to another road that leads to a highway, because there are so many ways to get from one jurisdiction to the other here in East Tennessee. You could take a back road that'll lead you to a main highway. Longer, of course, but people do it all the time. There's always a back way. And common sense should tell you there's going to always be a back way, because that's how the roads were made in the first place before we had international, main highways. There were always back ways to travel. So naturally, he didn't learn every road in his short time of being a deputy. Well, Shirley, obviously it wasn't close, sweetheart. That's why he's dead. The point is, had he ever been back there before? Had he ever been on a road close to that? Did they ever tell him, hey, be careful of that road over there? Possibly not. Because like the article said, he's new to the area, just started working, possibly got turned around. There's the only thing I could think of. He got turned around. Maybe he thought he was going one way, and he wasn't. He thought he was going around. And maybe he should have even asked the lady, hey, do you know which way to go to the jail? That would sound jacked up, but hey, ain't no shame in asking. Maybe asking, he and this lady will be alive today. Maybe he checked his GPS on his patrol car. Okay, this don't look right. This don't look like the way I came. Let me put the GPS in. Let me put the address into the police station. That's why you have to turn around when things don't look familiar. I've done it before, kept driving. The next thing you know, you're just wasting gas, going around in a damn circle. At nighttime, the very reason why you don't keep driving. Because you might get in a spot that you can't even turn around, depending on what type of car you're in. You know, I think about when I was doing ride sharing last year and I was up on a mountain dropping this girl off to a cabin. I couldn't get up the damn road because it was wet and it just had a little slight rocks, but my tires kept spinning. Now, naturally, a truck went right by me, just like the truck I had, just a different color. And she made her way around me. But hell, she's used to it. I ain't. Okay? I could not get my truck to make it up the damn road. When I tell you that road went straight up, like something out of a cartoon. I was like, how did this lady get up this road behind me? And I was scared because the roads were narrow and even turning around to me was dangerous because it's already wet. So I have common sense to know if I'm going to try to get up, let her out because she decided to go ahead and just walk. I said, are you sure? And she says, yeah, I don't want you to get stuck. You're already having problems getting up the road. I'll get out with my luggage and I'll just walk up the road. It's not that far. So she got out of the truck and she walked up the rest of the cabin. But the point is, even trying to maneuver, you're still talking about driving backwards, trying to maneuver on roads that are narrow up on a mountain. Now, these other people may be used to maneuvering, you know, going in reverse, things like that. I'm not a reverse driver. That's just not quaint. And I definitely don't want to be trying to do reverse if the road is slippery. Okay. You're taking a chance, even if the road was dry, trying to turn around. Now you're talking about the road is wet and you're trying to reverse to get in a spot where you could turn around without, you know, sliding off into a tree or an embankment. I hated those trips. And that's what Tennessee's about, East Tennessee. There are people who live on on narrow roads, and there is nowhere to turn around if you were to run out of gas, your car stop. There is no turning around. Because some of the roads are very narrow. And some of them are just big enough for one car to pass. And that's just God honest truth. Without you damn near having to ride off the side of a damn road. And God forbid, it's a drop off. And people actually live back in these parts. They have houses. Nice houses too. But there's some people who like living in these parts and they like driving on the roads. They don't have a problem. I do. I don't do embankments. I don't do narrow roads because what you have to think of is common sense. Darkness and not being able to see well. And honey, with a vehicle, a truck, that thing, it would have taken nothing, slide off and flip over. Because there's no way, hard to maneuver in the dark, especially if it's wet and you're trying to, you know what I'm saying, turn the vehicle around because you can't go up straight because you're trying to go up straight and the tires are sliding. So all I had was reverse. So I don't even know how I got myself out of the situation, to tell you the truth. And then I hear a story like this, which is horrific. Just riding along, he's talking to the wife through text, he's not paying attention, and he drives straight into the damn river with a detainee in the backseat of the damn car. That's my commentary. Oh, Lordy. This is live number 1. I will be back on a little later to bring you commentary pertaining to Harmony Montgomery. There is new information that has been released from the advocate that was working her case, and I will go live with that said information pertaining to her case. And the information that I'm going to reveal is just another slap in the face to a little girl who was miserably failed by her biological parents, the Department of Human Services of New Hampshire and Massachusetts, all relatives and neighbors and associates of the parents that saw the abuse of her, Kayla Montgomery, and the disposition of her father, Adam Montgomery. So I'll be bringing that commentary to you later this evening. I'm not going to hold you all, but that's the commentary for this live stream. Tennessee has passed a law stating that an officiant does not have to marry anyone if they do not want to. Second part of this live is pertaining to a Tennessee deputy that drowned in the Tennessee River, Hiawassee River, with a detainee in the back seat of his patrol car. He was texting his wife, bragging about his new arrest, and went into the water. She was strapped inside by handcuffs, did not make it out of the car. He was found outside of the vehicle a little ways from that, which I don't know what that is in feet or whatever, but the car went into the water upside down. The pictures that you will see on social media, the tow truck is towing the car out with the butt end facing the street, which would make you think, okay, it went straight in, nose in. That's why I found that strange as well, that the car was upside down versus how it was towed out of the water. So that was kind of confusing to me as well. I don't know how it got out with its butt out. I don't understand that, but anyway. Yeah, Pinto, I'm going to go live this afternoon or early evening. It won't be late because my day is free, so I can come back here in a couple of hours and bring you an update on Harmony Montgomery and the new information that has been released. So yes, you have time to go to you have time to go to the grocery store. Bring me something back. I don't really need anything, quite frankly. Yes, that's fine. You all have time to go do something, watch a movie or two. I'm going to finish this reality TV show that's 10 or so years old, 12 years old, LA Hair. I've been trying to stop watching this mess, but I'm almost done watching it. I'm on season 4. It's 5 seasons, so I'm going to finish it up, try to finish it up today, and then I'll jump back on and bring you that Harmony Montgomery update. You're not going to like the update, I can tell you that. You're welcome, Sundown. You're not going to like the update. That's for sure. It's not going to be nice. It's just going to reaffirm what we've already seen and heard from eyewitnesses and testimonies in court that Doritos, no thank you. No thank you, but thanks for offering. Queen's got enough chips in here. Don't need to be eating nothing because I feel like I'm putting on weight. I need to stop eating, honey. I'm not getting out as active as I was before winter came. But soon, hopefully, that will all change. But anywho, yeah, the update is not going to be good. It's going to just reaffirm what we've already heard and seen pertaining to the case, that the child was severely, neglected, pushed around from place to place. And it's sad. They're going to try to make provisions, these government agencies allegedly, to change protocol in dealing with children. But these cases are just what we see all the time with people in general. You can see things, hear things, and everything's about your perception. You know, what I may think is bad, you may not think is bad, you know. Just like you may see a child walking by a couple of times and his hair, her hair isn't combed, and you just may, think, well, it's no big deal. But then somebody else might see that, that looks like a sign of neglect. See, everything's about interpretation. And also, people just don't like to get involved. People don't like to get involved because, one, they know they have to give their name or allegedly give their name, especially if they're called in to testify. People do not like having to go to court. That's the one reason why you can't get people to give the spoken word on anything. People do not like going to court, especially if they got a past. They know people will bring that up. People just don't like to tell information. They don't want to be judged. Okay? Then you have those who just don't give a you know what. And that's what you see more of, possibly, besides people who don't want to testify or, go to a hearing, child hearing. People just don't care. I've talked to many people, and there's usually men. They do not care about anything going on in the world. They don't care about what happened in New York, California, Paris. They don't care. And naturally, you can't concern yourself with every waking detail of, breaking news and other people's, personal problems. I get it. But damn, it's kind of deep if you say, well, I was watching the news today and I saw this house caught on fire and, 2 people passed away. And then the person responds, why are you telling me? It's not my problem. Ain't my mama, ain't my sister. That right there is what's wrong with the world. You have people who have attitudes just like that. They don't care that 2 people died in a fire. 30 people were unalived in a mass shooting. Their idealism is, it's not my mother, not my child, not my father, not my cousin, my brother. It doesn't concern me. When it concerns me, then I'll grieve, I'll mourn. And I've talked to a few men like that. And I find it interesting that they were men who had this type of mentality. They don't care about breaking news. They don't care about what happened in the news. Don't really care about too much going on locally. And that's a terrible attitude to have. Because I was talking to someone recently and I made a comment about, I think, the Montgomerys getting the death penalty or somebody getting the death penalty. And the guy was like, you shouldn't say that. I said, I can say whatever I want to say. I said, anything pertaining to a child, hell yeah, they deserve the death penalty. That's my opinion. Why should you get to walk around free and you just snuffed out a child? What the hell? And the fact that I have to explain this to another human being is baffling. But that shows me, once again, you don't need to be talking to this person. Because once again, they're showing you they don't have any empathy for mankind, for children. But you've seen how this person behaves, how they act, and they've shown you they have a no-care attitude about life in general. And that's what you always have to tell yourself about dealing with people. When you're dealing with people who don't care about their own self, their own disposition, everything's a joke, everything's funny, or I don't give 2 F's about this, you should know that you could never tell them anything personal about yourself, what you're going through, what your mother's going through, whatever. And you definitely couldn't go to that person and talk about what the hell's going on in the world. Because there are people like that. They don't have any empathy. And let me tell you something before I check out of here. Those same people who don't have any empathy for anybody or anything, usually their lives are jacked up. They're always in something. They always got something going on. Because that was the first thing I thought when they made the comment a week or so ago. When they was telling me, oh, you shouldn't say that a person deserves to go to jail. I think I said they should stay in jail. That's what I said. They should get a lot of time in jail. And then he was like, you shouldn't wish jail on somebody. I said, you just need to be quiet. You don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay? And then here recently, not even 2 days, they got all this family drama going on. And then they said, oh, yeah, and something else going on, but I don't want to talk about it. No, they said, yeah, I got something else going on. I said, okay, what's going to happen now? I don't want to talk about it. So I keep being around people like this, especially men. They love to complain about their lives. What's wrong? What happened? This person's sick, ill. But you can't be sick. You can't be ill. Your mother can't be sick. Your brother can't be sick. Your friend could have got hit by a car. You dare not tell that person nothing because they're empty. They can't even really say, oh, I hate to hear that. I'll be praying for you. Dead silence. Okay? But it's okay for them to tell the world somebody's sick, somebody hurt. And then go on to say, oh, yeah, something else is going on. And then you ask, well, what's wrong? What's done happening now? Now, you're already listening to them go on and on about somebody else not well. Then they still talking about something else that happened. Then you say, well, what happened? They can't tell you. See, that type of nonsense is why you have to learn to cut people off. Not even listen. Because I'm going to tell you something, seriously. In dealing with this certain person, I start to wonder what is really the truth anymore. Sometimes I think some of the shit they tell me that it's made up. I'm just going to be truthful. That's a terrible thing to say about another human being, but because there's always something every time you talk to the person. I can go 3-4 months, never speak to this person. By the time I get back in foolishly talking to the person, they always got a story. They ain't got a story when I talk to them. They're going to have a story about it next week or 2 weeks down the road. It's always something. And you have to tell yourself, when is enough going to be enough and you're dealing with these type of people? Because it's really glutton for punishment. I'm telling myself, punishing myself. Why even listen? As I always tell you all, why engage? Exactly. So I tell myself, you need to take your own advice. Stop engaging. You're never going to get the whole truth because they don't know how to be truthful. They don't know how to tell the truth. So whatever you're listening to is probably 40% the truth. I don't know. Well, Pinto, that is true. And let me say this. We are all entitled to be selfish, okay? That we're human. There's days you just don't have to be bothered with people. You don't have to listen to other people's problems. You don't have to care what's going on with people. Even if it's something terrible, it's not that you're wishing them bad, but it might be you just say, I'm zoned out. I don't have nothing to give today. There's nothing wrong with that. Whether it's a problem, it's every day you're zoned out. You don't have any empathy. You know, you're the type, you walk outside your house, the building is burning across from you, and you just kindly go get in your car or you walk to the bus stop and keep it moving. That's when you have a problem. No poll today? No poll today. I don't think I can do a poll on this StreamYard because I don't see an option over here where I can do a poll. The poll is only when I stream live from the YouTube app. I can put a poll up then. Well, since you mentioned that, Pinto, when I come off this live, I'll put up a poll on the community page. And then you can take it from there. And then I'll mention the results in the next live. We'll go there. Matter of fact, I'll put a poll up for each story about the new Tennessee law of officiants not having to marry people if they don't want to. But like I said, I wouldn't argue with anybody about that. You know, right now I decided to get married, and I asked a pastor or somebody to marry me, and he or she says no, I don't want to do it. It wouldn't upset me. I just go find somebody else. I mean, that's what people don't understand. There's tons of people out here that are licensed to marry people. So I wouldn't get my panties all up in a knot because somebody didn't want to marry me and my husband, a fiance. I just find somebody else. Oh, well, thank you. I'm so happy that you like taking the polls. I know I asked all types of questions, so I'm going to put one up as soon as I load this video into YouTube. Well, it'll go to YouTube as soon as I end the stream. But I'll put up 2 polls pertaining to the topics that were discussed during this live stream. Sources are revealed in this live stream. If you need verification for all said information, I want to thank you all for joining me on this wonderful, wonderful Sunday afternoon. God is good. I will be back later to talk about harmony Montgomery. There is new information out pertaining to the advocates that served on her case. This lady is going to reveal to you information that she learned pertaining to the case. What you have to ask yourself, the information that was told to her, is it truthful, factual? Is it truthful, factual, and who is the person that told the information? And is this the same person that contacted the tip line last Wednesday while court was in session? Not this past Wednesday, but the Wednesday before, when it was revealed during court that somebody had called the tip line to give information. Because what is disturbing, if this is the same information, why in the hell would you wait the week of trial to turn in this tip? Because, see, I don't know if this is the same information or not. Some people said it was his father that turned in a tip that Wednesday, and the father is now deceased. He's OD'd. I don't know what's the truth. And when you deal with these type of cases, it's like, seriously, your head underwater, because you don't know what to believe, and what you've seen in her pertaining to the little girl is so jacked up and messed up. How in the world you know what to believe? You do. You have no idea. Once again, channel donations by Super Stickers chats during the live and $McAngie129 Cash App. Thank you for your time. Join me back here later for live number 2 pertaining to Harmony Montgomery. You have been listening to The Vault XL.